Etiefo mimo bibi akwaba eba Melodies TV so. Let us once again look at Misremo nipakra oliki yemami Gloria Akufo, Sophia Akufo, sorry. Nipakra oliki yemami Sophia Akufo ne testimony or call committee ye share say omonhwe eye Gertrude Torkornoo nsemu nipakra wo liki sa testimony no mesra o de obe likini na atiase no come and be leaking it piece na afi ye ba be read pages 2 3 na next story afianze ye read page 10 mesra mo mu likini na ne hu nsemu aye bisa aye maame ni na ne ye report ni na so preko. Anyway, if you don't know what's going on, the brief of the matter ne say Yemami Sophia Akufo aba bekasa a condemn the removal of Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Na yete say in fact committee ne kratina se no Yemami Sophia Akufo ko committee ne so eko ma testimony in favor of Gertrude Torkornoo. Even no Sophia Akufo aba be hu say Ghana for ebe hu say okoma testimony ni nani anje because osina nkompese Ghana for be hu say wako committee ne so akoma testimony. But testimony a wakoma committee ne so no ensemu aye bisa no transcript ni bi ahya se ba bonten Emma enra me ba bekenkan bi kire mo a one of the questions aye bisa ne say onim se ade a Gertrude Torkornoo ye ya ode ne mma ene ne kunu etu kwan no na enye bone unconstitutional Emma Sophia Akufo eti say indeed yes unconstitutional. Now another part of the testimony questions I be sound and answers are no and also asha bonten. I just want to read so we understand and get a course. So now this was the question and it looks like the question was starting from a place, but because we are not getting the full statement, they are just leaking bits of it into sometimes we are not, it's not really going to, you are not going to get the understanding from the beginning, but I'll try as much as possible to let every single person understand what I see. Now, question is there any area you intend to throw a little light on? Maybe transfers. Into question of Mobisa, Sophia Akufo say, obetumi atre nsemu kakra, especially on the transfers. What I say, and I'd want to believe that they were talking about Chief Justice no air transfer nkrofo. Now, this is the answer as Sophia Akufo mai. Also, maybe the only thing I would like to emphasize will be on the role and functions of a Chief Justice because it is so broad and to a very large extent, it is not defined. The scope and magnitude of it is not spelled out. Certainly, it is not spelled out in your letter of appointment, and throughout the time I was functioning as an ordinary Supreme Court judge, there was never an opportunity to play the role, and no one really gets the opportunity to play the role except maybe the most senior judge of the Supreme Court. And even then, it would only be for a few days or at most a week. Firstly, there's no preparation and there's no set pattern. I did not come across any books or any articles on how to be an effective Chief Justice. And I think Sophia Akufo is making sense here. Inti Ebisane say the role inti probably she Ebisane a question about the role of a Chief Justice. And Sophia Akufo as someone what can I say? Chief Justice ejuma no enya de ketwa because obi eni ho a wo betrel se ne wo se wo ye ejuma no. Chief Justice yes elete was Chief Justice yamma o book e betre say for just give me 1 minute of your time. Let me interrupt with this very important notice. So what heme na opese o reduce a year wefu from this level to this level. Very simple. Nyama miensa na wo se wo ye. Eto de bia ya na nkrofo bebre eka se edro bi ebetumi ama wefu akofom entro edro bi eni ho ebetumi ayesa na wa wotie mi wato edro san we hu se wanom enye hwe na nyama miensa no me dia tro book enkrata obronese opese osie bibi from bibinia fashe book mu nti nyama miensa no me dia tro book mi ameti he na mefuso enyama me ye ma mefu ekofom within 3 months pe nti book no pe bia on your screen obetumi click any of the icons na wape book no and as a link na wa comment box the say no o click here be another page into page we no mostly no mobile money na obe use o pay hard copy of the book na wa click here so wo pay book no wo phone so na wa click here so wo pay video yankasa ye kenkan book na ma na we for wo mo a wo mo ni ma kenkan na eno so wa click wo benya video ni to tia through mobile money na wenya video no ana wenya book no na uye we ni na still on sanka book no ana wetua ka wi na still on sanka book na o ya ade we na still unya kwan enya book na don't worry call the number and say message 055 807 4986 055 807 4986 o messages our number na obenya book no na aside the fact say if ukese enye fe no yesi Ghana for yare a ekum Ghana for dodo na te say stroke BP akomayare diabetes na nyama no nini na no fukese ene deba na ya na nsem wo ya America no asem America no say de otinija ho enonim nti se wutie me na wefusu na wo hospital ko ye tester ya na bia ye ka tro say cholesterol ye high dodo na no fukese no ene ekose nti se wutie me na person we see the size of your stomach very simple get the book as I've shown you in the video moma yentie ye maame baako ne testimony a wode aba just after a year buying the book and doing the things in the book.
Yeah, melodies. Only me na me pesa me kasa. Me swat to the extent say me na fufu nyina complain say senior me swat no enye fine. Emfata me look like before. And no say me nume drubi a me nyai. Me bibi a me nyai na emfata me.
So this is a very good problem to have. Say osobeti na nkrofo ehun ne say senya oso ati de ebia na ofe drobi. Me see drobi eni ho. Enyama na wo book ni mu a. Na eno ano no yentia story no eso. Me ye chief justice. Na chief justice no we jumani. Eno ano say ye appointed was a chief justice na eno ano no. Into sometimes e jumane soon. And then Sophia Akufo speaking and saying the truth, right? I say sometimes a human is soon. And every single person who is listening to what Sophia Akufo is saying, or who is listening to me today, knows that this is one of the things me personally I stand for. It would say Sophia Akufo and someone walk on no. I say sometimes a human is soon. Obiam entrel or no say or any chief justice no. Obiam for book and mano. And country say chief justice we jumani we ne was say we anyway any kwan say we any kwan say we in a way obi beka say or can na say or they are supporting Gertrude Torkornoo say bia or ye juma no ye bone kra na onim ade was say we as chief justice internet bia we ye bone basically it looks like that's what she's saying but they all can what I'm saying is that there's a truth in it and the reason why I feel like there's a truth in it ne say I always tell you say Ghana for your yankrophobia, we don't like documenting. Intiana me melodies me tihe, makatre mo say, me book a me matro on how me I lost weight. Ma document ya to ho. Inti a trimba, me ma, ebe baba be who say, asume si ne papa. Me mba baba be who say, ye papa, ye nanabi, book a wotro ye about weight loss ni. Because I personally believe that every single person should be able to document something in their lives. That is why I keep on telling you, say, and J. Akufo, we don't know whether he has a book on governance. Uni book. Rawlings, we don't know whether he has a book on governance. Even Akufo-Addo, crowd here, memoir will boo ye crano. I'm a firm believer of the fact that he needs to write a book to let us know in Yamabi a course one abemwa ebi an Yamabi chichin in sa went to me and Yamabi so that a trimba no more babe can kanya wombe who say as a president the Akufo-Addo or ye ni minso mamen konkoye. And for me I think it is a big problem in our society. And so we have Ghana the number of chief justices are yenya. Now we take Glory Kufu Krasemu Awaka said there is no book on how to be an effective chief justice. Indeed it is true, but an interest say me support say and no hunto babe than chief justice at Dibone na kokoka say o say me book bi any ho that be I don't support that because then they say sadia president na book be anywhere dress oba babe we na bema why effective president. Now so president ni na no ba say ya na omoba ye de omoba ye. Enti the war can de indeed true, but it is not an excuse. Enti basically that's what she's trying to say, right? Now Oriena Osanso ka say I did not come across any books or any articles on how to be an effective Chief Justice. You play it as you go along. If you are fortunate enough to have had similar experience, which I have had as president of the African courts. So I had run a court before, but that is a different type of court. So it is something which you learn from your memory or from some of the Chief Justices you worked with. Sometimes I find myself asking the Judicial Secretary, how was my predecessor handling this one? So it is not a set rule. And all that you are required to be is to be an effective administrator, an effective manager, effective leader. And as much as possible, what I tried to do was to put in place as many procedural guidelines as possible for various activities. So as to during my time, standardize how things get done. So as much as possible, similar situations are treated in similar ways. So it is a role which is all-encompassing. It encompasses everything you can possibly think of, including even counseling of judges at times, and matters like transfers. I remember transferring somebody from Accra to Tema, and she came begging, and I could not understand why. Accra, and Tema are the same. 2. Transfer is a normal thing. You should not expect to be at one place for too long. And what I did at that time was I found there were people who had been at one place for 10 years, 15 years, and so on. So see or no cry where Chief Justice no. Or transfer will be from Accra to Tema. Nipa kono ba bepa ne cho. Na afei onti nipa kono ase because Accra ne Tema dey one place. Enti na ma transfer wa o bepa me cho. Into what say o bedani Chief Justice anyama bebre wa wa wonim. Mate say say one of the Chief Justices say Georgina Wood. Mate say wono so ye fan as Chief Justice no. Oti ase say ejuma no hu so na enye easy. Inti okọ university bi e na okọkọ sre lecturers na wo university ho say omonye course ma no no mon train ade ene say bi obeba betena class no ni students no esua ade but lecturers no and organize a course emma wono nkwa ni en train ade say mi obetumi arane and indeed lecturers no eyema no that is Georgina Wood. So Georgina Wood took action. And for me, that is what I'm saying. It is not an excuse for Gertrude Torkornoo. It is not an excuse. What I say, yes, Engrophone through book how to be an effective Chief Justice. Book be any hosa, nothing like that. The experiences ne nyama Engrophone through books ne sa nyama no. Ghana, minim nenti aye tesa, but no quarry. If we really want to make our society better, we need to write books on a lot of things. We need to rethink, right? Write books on a lot of things, and that will change our lives. But Asemo work on. So basically, this was part of the testimony of Sophia Akufo on my now. Oriye not also say, and looking at the policy, there was a policy which said after 4 years, one should expect to be transferred. The transfer is not a punishment, definitely not. And sometimes transfer of people from station to station and transfer of cases too. Sometimes you suddenly realize some judges are overburdened with cases, which normally should not happen once the electronic assignment of cases in the High Court started. But at times, it is still what happened like that. And then you look at who is less burdened or who has a higher disposal rate and transfer cases to them. In so long as the hiring is not halfway, but even when it is spat-head, there is also the possibility of the judge who has been transferred continuing to finish those cases. I recall there was one very hard-working judge who was transferred from Kumasi to Central Region because she had been in Kumasi for a long time. And so what normally happens is that when it is time for the cases to be heard, still the cases will be heard, and they will be heard at the old place. And there would be sometimes be lawyers who, to expedite the matter, would then apply to travel to the news station for the case to be heard more rapidly. It is a fluid thing. There are no hard and fast rules. What matters at the end of the day is quality justice delivery. Quality justice delivery is achieved in the most optimal time, and that is all. It is in the interest of the parties, whether you win or lose, that at the end of the day, your case gets completed. And I think, say, it is all talking about Daniel Ofori accusing Justice Torkornoo of transferring Judge Bianote Wonu case. As Justice Torkornoo who said Daniel Ofori, Baba be winning. Basically, and I think that is why Sophia Akufo is saying this. What Sophia Akufo is saying is true, but it doesn't mean that you should use that as a tool. Okay, transfer the money. But the problem is that once you use it as a tool, allegedly, okay, and that's where the investigation lied on, right? Once you use it as a tool, say may transfer judge or the case because me who say judge the air kono or be diamond then you are not being fair. Transfer the legal, but once you use it as a tool, then what you say, you are making it illegal. So basically, this is a Sophia Akufo in some walker. Won't you mind your comment box anymore? But that's it.